Time for Live Now with Dr. Carmen Harra. The show offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions. And now, here's Dr. Carmen Harra.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Live Now, KMET radio affiliated to ABC. I'm so excited to be with you today because my topic is something that everybody can relate to. You know, recovering from trauma, something that we all want to do, and rebuild your life. That's so significant. Painful experiences can change us forever. And especially when a painful experience is affected you as at an early age, and it can happen anytime during your life. It can happen numerous times. A trauma can leave you unhealed for many years. And it impairs the way you think, the way you act. It impairs the way you function on a daily basis. I work with people who've been traumatized, and I can see the imprint of karma in the way they think, the way they act, the way they relate to other people. And it's very hard to heal. So fascinated that when we are born free. When we are born unhurt. We are born innocent, without limits. We are born pure. And we think everything is possible. At the very beginning of our life, you hear kids saying things like, when I grow up, I want to be the president. When I grow older, I want to become a movie star. I want to live in a mansion. I want to achieve extraordinary things. And they have amazing dreams. But as you grow older, you know, we get hit with the reality of life, and we start passing through very hard lessons, and our hopes start to dwindle, and our field of possibilities starts to narrow. Though we do exist in the field of multiple possibilities, but we still start to realize that life is not as easy as we thought at the beginning. And maybe we won't be able to achieve what we thought originally when we were very young, when we were kids, when we were teenagers. What happens is that we get hit with trauma. And sometimes we get hit to trauma after trauma. And we try and we get into a point that we look back and how we used to think, and we laugh, and we think, well, we're naive to believe that we can achieve everything. But we have to believe. We have to go back to the belief. We have to heal. The way we pass through the journey of life is getting knocked down, getting back up, and getting knocked down again. But every time something painful happens, it chips away our spirit, our power. And if a lot of bad things happen to us at once, we start to feel hopeless. And I can see people feeling hopeless. I'm thinking of the people in Ukraine losing their homes, you know, losing their family members, losing so much at once. That takes away, you know, their belief, takes away their power, takes away their energy, their life force. And at that point, it's very hard to heal. It takes a very long time to rebuild. And you have to start again. And we, all of us, collectively feel for those situations and those kind of people. And we see the situation unfolding in front of us, and it's so painful. It's so painful to go through some form of trauma in life sooner or later. That is inevitable. But if you think of trauma, because I'm touching upon this subject, it is referred as a deeply distressing, a deeply disturbing experience. It can come in a form of an injury. It can come in a form of an accident. It can come in a form of a divorce, a death, a loss, a financial crash, a natural disaster, a lawsuit, a health crisis. It can come in so many forms. And even the fact that your parents scream at you or treat you bad or don't love you or put you in a corner and don't believe in you, even that that's a form of an abuse and can lead to something that traumatizing the life of a child. The biggest problem is not the painful experience in itself. That's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the imprint that remains after the trauma. It's okay, you've been shocked, you've been traumatized, you witness somebody being killed in front of you, or you just got a phone call that your daughter was killed buying grocery at Publix. It's like, how crazy is that? How traumatizing is that? So it's not that experience that is the problem, is the trauma that remains in what happens after that. Because if you are not healed from that trauma, you will spend the rest of your life manifesting those traumatic experiences in different form, and rejecting things and being in denial, and it modifies the way you go through life, your personality traits. It affects your perception of things. So this is why I think we see children coming from addicted people, like people addicted to alcohol, becoming alcoholics. This is the reason why we see people coming from dysfunctional families, going the same way, divorcing themselves just because that's what they witness. This is why we can interpret young people buying guns and going and killing others, because somewhere deep at the layer of their reactive side of the brain, the subconscious mind, there has been a deep, severe traumatic experience that will sooner or later be released in a very dark and negative way. So we don't want to do bad things in life. We don't want to do things that we recognize that are wrong or harmful. We don't want to do harmful. We don't want to act on harmful behavior. We don't want to get stuck in trauma that we endure. None of us we want. We want to bury the trauma deep into our subconscious mind. And we believe if we do that, it's done. But guess what? The trauma stays dormant, nearly undetectable. And it takes a single event, one phrase, one sentence, one person coming in our life, one incident, one event, to resurface that trauma. Because trauma, if it's not fully healed and emotionally deleted and worked out, psychologically, and it's only just buried to stay dormant, that's not resolved. So if it's not worked out, that it will manifest again and again and again. And this is the reason. So all of you that are calling me and says, Dr. Harra, why do I experience the same thing over and over? Why do I bring in my life the same alcoholic? Why do I bring in my life the same man who cheats on me, who treats me bad, who abuses me? Why do I go to the same job where I fail? Why do I lose my money all the time? Why do I keep having to suffer through the same experiences? Because the effect of the trauma you once experienced, probably many years ago, probably, as I said, when you were a child, when you were a teenager, in your youth, that those effects of trauma never really went away. That is very, very significant to understand. So whenever you do something that you're not happy with, you do it against the logic of your brain. You just do it because you feel it's good to do it. You do it compulsively. Whenever you're self-destructive towards yourself, whenever you act wrong toward others and you question your own action, the explanation is rooted somewhere deep in those layers of the reactive side of the brain called the subconscious mind. That's where you need to dig deeper and figure it out, how you can really, really eliminate those phobias, those traumatic experiences. Sometimes, people need to go through hypnotherapy to remember bad experiences, Because when they go dormant, you act like you have that kind of dissociated amnesia. You don't actually remember what really happened to you. You have a very hard time acknowledging what really happened to you. So uh, this is very significant to understand. Um, the way you will manifest trauma and the way you need to work it out in order to fully heal yourself. I could give you many examples of that people battling to clear away trauma. Um, I'm giving you one of my own example, because that's probably the best way to refer to your own self. I was in my early 20s and I was living in the northern part of Romania called Transylvania. And I was a famous singer in Romania. And I'm not exaggerating, it's just the reality. And I was, once finishing a performance, I started as a famous singer as a teenager. And I was in Bucharest, Romania, and I was in a hotel room because my parents and I live in Transylvania. You all heard of Transylvania? What about Dracula? But it's a beautiful part of the of that part of the European world, and it's actually absolutely beautiful. Transylvania is beautiful. So I highly encourage you to go there and see all those mountains and castles and beautiful towns and amazing people. So um, I was performing on a concert. I was very young. And I remember right after that, I actually left Romania and moved to America. And here I am for 40 years, spent majority of my life in America. But I will never forget, talking about trauma, that experience. So I was in a hotel in the center of Bucharest, and my parents were living in Transylvania. So I felt something very strange in my mind. I always felt that I am very intuitive. I was not fully aware at that time what intuition was really all about. And I had like a sense that something's going to happen. I had a feeling like something is going to collapse, something's going to happen. So I started to panic. It was like an instinct. I had my gut feeling that I was in danger. So I ran out of the hotel room, but I ran so fast. And I remember that I was telling people, get out of this hotel, something wrong, something's going to happen. People were thinking, this young girl is actually insane, something's happening. So, a terrible earthquake started to happen the moment I got out of that hotel. I witnessed a building falling around me. It was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. Was an earthquake 7.4 on the Richter scale. So I saw men and kids dying in front of me. I started to shake and tremble. That was so horrible to witness. I couldn't breathe, actually. It was impossible to breathe because of those buildings falling. There was I can't describe the magnitude of the tragedy. So I was running towards the train station to catch a train to go. You're talking about what happened 1977. That was 45 years ago. 45 years ago, we had no cellular, no way to communicate. My parents were like many hours away was actually by train 8 hours away from the capital. There was no way they heard. There was a horrendous earthquake. Thousands and thousands of people died. A lot of people died. The capital was absolutely devastated. If you Google earthquake in 1977, Bucharest, Romania, here I was in the middle of that experience. So I'm giving you this just to give you a sense of what trauma can do. I end up coming back home full of dust and hardly being able to breathe and traumatized for many years. Since then, I tell you, I'm never able to be in an elevator alone. I'm afraid. I run away from places where I know there's a possibility of an earthquake. I feel many times anxious. I have some kind of an anxiety, I try to work on myself. I mean, I think studying psychology, it actually helped me a lot. I still see that event in front of my eyes so many years later. Was I fully healed? I tried to heal myself, probably in spite of trying to heal and living a normal life for so many years. I still feel some residues from that experience. So if you ever had something like this and you want to share it with me, if you experience something traumatic, feel free to call in, because this is a calling show and you guys can chat with me about this and ask me what it is that we need to do when we experience trauma like this. The number to call in is 951-922-3532, 951-922-3532. And my producer will put you in touch with me. Please feel free to connect with me. I'll be very excited to, if you will share with me any experience, or if you just want to talk to me about your anxiety, or if you feel that you're suffering from any kind of panic disorder, let's talk about that too, because it's essential to heal. And I do think I have great tips and many things to share with you on this topic, but I'm going to go on a short break and I'll be waiting for your call.
World-renowned psychologist, relationship expert, and best-selling author Dr. Carmen Harra hosts Live Now every Friday morning at 9 o'clock on Smart Talk Radio. Dr. Harra offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions, all for you. Experience your own positive transformation as Dr. Harra personally guides you to the answers that you have been seeking. Live Now with Dr. Carmen Harra every Friday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific Time on KMET Radio, podcast by SoundCloud. What is commitment and why is it so hard to achieve? The new book, Committed, by Dr. Carmen Harra and Alexandra Harra, will make you reevaluate the way you think about love. Committed is a relationship manual that unfolds in two parts: the work you need to perform on the inside and the 7 distinct archetypes you'll encounter on the outside. Committed, a new book available on Amazon by Dr. Carmen Harra and Alexandra Harra, will help to find and keep the love you deserve. Committed, available now on Amazon.
Hello, everybody. I'm back with my new episode on Live Now, the show that offers you the guidance to transform your life. I'm Dr. Carmen Harra, live on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on KMET 1.90 a.m. ABC Radio. So I'm so excited about my topic because, as I was trying to describe at the beginning of the show, trauma is something that we all experience at some point in life. And I was wanting to share with you my own experience and willing to listen if you have something of that magnitude or any kind of traumatic experience that you've been going through and you would love to talk to me about it. And the number to call in is 951-922-3532. And as I said, the effects of childhood trauma in adults is incredible, because traumas most commonly originate in childhood experiences. They begin at home as we grow up witnessing the dynamic between our parents and their relationship affects our life in so many ways, because kids are highly impressionable and they see mommy crying because daddy did something, and that leaves a permanent imprint on them. Kids are sensitive. The statistics show that kids growing up in broken homes are shocking. According to the Journal of Children's Psychology, Psychiatry, teenagers in single-parent family and blended families are 3 times more likely to need psychological help within a given year. And after they grow up, they came from those who came from broken family are twice as likely to attempt suicide than those who come from family with both parents, says the Journal of American Academy of Children and Adult Psychiatry. So, and here I can talk over and over about this topic because it's so, intriguing to me and so fascinating how powerful the effects of trauma play a role in our life. But I'm going to go to Julia. Hi, Julia, my dear. How are you?
Hi, Carmen. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm excited about my topic.
Yeah, it's a great topic, and all your topics are great. I love listening to you, and you are such an inspiration to me every time.
Thank you, my Julia. Ever had any trauma? Did something traumatic ever happen to you? I hope not, but I'm just asking.
I think the fact that my mom, how to say, not abandoned, but she passed her responsibility to raise me to her mother when I was 6 months old. So I think that had an effect on me for sure.
But was that reflected in your life? Was that reflected in your relationship with other people? Was it?
I think first of all, it's reflected in my relationship with her because I feel like I did not forget her. I did not forgive her. I feel that.
Right.
Yeah. So, I think first of all, it's my relationship with her and then with the other people.
Right. I believe that. Everything emotional, that happens between us when we are kids. That's why we should be very careful with the way, as parents, we allow children to witness conflicts between us. I mean, we should never allow kids to witness fights between mom and dad. If you want to argue with your husband, go ahead and do it in a different room or in a way that the kids are not aware of it. Because kids are very affected by that and way more affected than we acknowledge. When I did a lot of study in the subject and I'm fascinated with the subject, and I tell you, just for everybody listening and for you, that 70% of the prison people in prison inmates, they actually come from broken families. They actually come from people who kill, people who steal, people who commit all kinds of horrible things. They actually come from families where parents argue, they fight. So you see what a negative imprint displays on people. So I see young people like in their 20s taking a gun and they enter a store or a supermarket or a synagogue or a church, and they start killing. And their need to release that negativity in killing others does come from a very bad experience they had in childhood or in adolescence. So I'm trying just to make my point. So in your case, the way this was reflected was in the relationship with your mother. What is the relationship with your mother now?
So I was just last week, and this week we had our first vacation together, and we had a really cold relationship. As you told me once, she does not understand me, and I don't understand her, and from here it's very, very difficult to collaborate, because no matter what I do, our opinions are always very different, and.
Right. But do you think that also affected your relationship with your significant other, with the man in your life, or no? I'm asking.
Yeah, for sure. And it still does. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, when you live in a dysfunctional environment where there's a lot of disagreement, where you don't feel loved enough, or when a child doesn't feel accepted, when feels mistreated, doesn't feel understood, the possibility of that kid to become dysfunctional is very, very great. So, and it's really sad to be this way. But children usually end up doing the same things like their parents. So if you say, well, she doesn't understand me, I don't understand her. So your response to her not understanding you is the same response of her not understanding you. You understand?
Yeah, I
So
do. I
if
do.
she was kind of a self-destructive, or if she was negative towards you, your response towards her is similar. You understand?
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens with us is when we're young, we keep on repeating something that we've seen, something that affected us. Um, as much as we try and want logically to make the situation better, so subconsciously we want to rectify the pain that was brought to us, to those we love, but we need to understand the process of correcting things, you know. So in your case, for you to make a relationship with your mother very good, you have to understand the process, you know, the process. And in order to understand the process, you need to venture into the real world. You need to start working on yourself by becoming an adult and growing in the real world. And then, you know, slowly you have a way of finding out your own methods, your own how should I say, possibilities of adjusting, changing, improving, healing the situation. um, and this is all I can do. I feel very strongly that you should improve the relationship with her by telling yourself that you are absolutely willing to heal this, to correct it, to make it better, even if she's not responding. In spite of her lack of willingness, you know, to change herself, you should be the one trying to change. So you don't remain at the same level like her. You understand?
Yeah, I do, but it's very difficult to make my mind up to this. I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes I feel like I don't want to do this. You know, it's more
Right, right,
comfortable to stay here. So,
right. I understand.
but yeah, I agree with what you said. Sometimes or too often I behave like a child and not as a grown up. And
Yeah, because
um,
you cannot grow up when this has been implemented. This stops the process of growing. It stops your evolution. And so trauma, what it does, it stops you from becoming something. It's like it's putting a barriers, you know, to your soul evolution. It's like closing the door to you moving forward through your life. That's why people who are traumatized are people who feel they cannot achieve, they cannot succeed, they cannot move their life where they want. They have ideas, desires, they can never get there. And the reason they cannot see fulfillment is because of the trauma that they've experienced. So this is the explanation of why people that have been traumatized, they are not flourishing, they are not able to express themselves to the level of their capacities. They have a hard time creating the best version of themselves. So, for everybody listening, pay attention to these statements and please listen to the show, because the show has extraordinary information that can help you break through those barriers, those walls. So whenever you feel, well, I'm kind of stuck in achieving such and such things, then your explanation is in accordance to the trauma that you've been suffering, experiencing, that stays unhealed within yourself and is not allowing you to get where you want to get in whichever areas of your life. Do you have
yeah,
any
thanks so much for
specific
the
question for
explanation.
me, Julia?
Well, I don't want to keep you longer. I just, last week, I had a chat with my manager face to face, and he told me some things that I couldn't process, that I'm frustrated, and that he didn't give me really good feedback in a nutshell. So, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I would like to stay here longer, but I don't know if it's my life purpose here in this job. I have another 6 months of contract, but I think that this conversation I had with him really will deteriorate our relationship, at least for me.
So talking about trauma, I mean, I never thought that a leader, a boss, somebody who's in charge of a company should make the employees feel bad about themselves. Even if you want to introduce a criticism, even if you want to help them get better, even if you're not happy with their performance, there are ways of helping them get better, not by belittling them, not by making them feel bad about themselves, because that's not going to do it. And here is where I think that what this person did to you is hurting you emotionally, making you probably quit, and making you quit the place and go and move somewhere else and find actually a better place and find somebody who will treat you differently. And that's what I suggest. There are other places you can go and other places where you will feel you can do way better, and you will. Then think that way. Take it as a sign. Take it as there must be a reason into this.
Yes, I will.
Take it as a sign.
Yeah. All right. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, I love you, Julia.
Thank you so
Much for calling me.
Infinite love and gratitude. Bye, Carmen.
I know, my love. Infinite love and gratitude. That is the best way to heal. When we're grateful, even for every piece of pain, for every piece of trauma, for everything that we're going through, gratitude is a way to heal. And if it's infinite, then the healing is an infinite way of healing. Now, I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed that social media apps offer suggestion based on views and on likes? If you're browsing through a page about makeup, for instance, on Instagram, you might find that the next time you open an app, your entire Explorer page is filled with makeup artists. And the ad that is select for you are all the beauty products. This might be like some kind of an algorithm. It's a clever algorithm, but it's also a timeless karmic principle that applies to real life. What you experience establishes what you attract. So out of experiences, sequences of behavior are formed. So think a little bit. Out of experience, sequences of behavior are formed. As soon as you experience something that has a wrong impact on you, whether negative or sometimes a positive impact, it gets stored in your human hard drive and opens universal doors for similar experiences to follow. So think a little bit. This isn't a problem when your hard drive is filled with joyful experience and happy relationship, because the more you have that, the more you'll continue to have them. The problem is when your human hard drive is jammed with challenges and obstacles that all resemble each other in nature. It is then that patterns become hard to determine. The only way to shed a painful cycle is to return to the origin. Empty that hard drive, delete all the information, and go back to the origin, to the earliest memories that are stored, and good positive memories stored in your human hard drive. That's so important. Think about what you recall when you were young. Well, you recall good, or recall all your memories, all your impressions on you. Remember your parents playing with you, loving you. Remember, but also, do you remember their arguments? Do you remember them shouting at each other? Go back to those moments and then evaluate the perspective on life and how life evolved with time and how life impact those experiences impact your personal experience. What has increased your confidence in yourself, and what has weakened your confidence in yourself? So do your own analysis. How have your views on life changed based on your childhood experiences? So you see, I'm trying to show you which is the easiest way for you to navigate through your human hard drive and take away what you don't need, and preserve and amplify the good experiences. And make this your questions and take your time to answer your question. So reflect on how you were treated growing up. Reflect on the fact whether your opinion were valued or not. Did people around you make you feel good or make you feel bad when you were young? Did parents listen to you, what you have to say, or they dismiss your feelings? Did teachers, classmates, friends advocate your thoughts, believe, or invalidated your thoughts? It has a lot to do with the sense of self-development. Invalidation leads to unworthiness, while validation leads to strength. So children who are empowered are more likely to have a strong sense of worth and high level of self-confidence as adults. So that's why I'm always telling people, be careful. Teachers in school, parents at home, how you treat your kids, how you empower them and don't make them feel bad about themselves. Build them up. This plays a positive role in their career, in interpersonal relationship, the way they reject the wrong part of people, the way they stand up for themselves, the way they earn respect, and so on and so forth. This is so powerful. Acknowledging what emotions are associated with people in your life, because it's all about that. And also help yourself figure those emotions out. Think about each of your parents. Were they loving towards you? Think about your father. Did you harbor any resentment towards him? So go deep in all those emotions. These are very important situations that you should analyze in order for you to know where you're going in life if you want to have that stable, long-lasting relationship and success in your career. I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back in a minute.
World-renowned psychologist, relationship expert, and best-selling author Dr. Carmen Harra hosts Live Now every Friday morning at 9 o'clock on Smart Talk Radio. Dr. Harra offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions, all for you. Experience your own positive transformation as Dr. Harra personally guides you to the answers that you have been seeking. Live Now with Dr. Carmen Harra every Friday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific Time on KMET Radio, podcast by SoundCloud. What is commitment and why is it so hard to achieve? The new book, Committed, by Dr. Carmen Harra and Alexandra Harra, will make you reevaluate the way you think about love. Committed is a relationship manual that unfolds in 2 parts: the work you need to perform on the inside and the 7 distinct archetypes you will encounter on the outside. Committed, a new book available on Amazon by Dr. Carmen Harra and Alexandra Harra, will help to find and keep the love you deserve. Committed, available now on Amazon.
And because we're talking about Committed, my book that was released August of last year, I still recommend that book. I'm ready with my new book that's coming also very soon. And I still recommend Committed because we all want to find the right person in our lives. And finding somebody has a lot to do with these experiences I'm talking about. If you think about how you're going to attract the right person into your life, this is very significant because you need to know yourself first. You need to know your own archetype. You need to know what you've been going through. You need to know who you really want. And if you want to find out your own archetype, my book is like some kind of a manual in being able to identify your personality traits, your skills, your abilities, your capacity to love, your capacity to commit. And you'll be able to understand who is your perfect match when it comes to your own archetype. Now, the concept of archetype has been introduced in psychology by Carl Jung. And Carl Jung was inspired by Plato with his theory of forms 2,500 years ago. And I was inspired by Carl Jung's idea of archetypes. So I came up with a number of wonderful archetypes that exist between us. And we need to figure it out, which is which, who are we, who's our significant other, and if our archetype my archetype is a match with my significant other's archetype. So that's what the book does. It's some kind of a psychological predictability chart. So you don't need to do and check astrology or any other science of divination, you can do some kind of a psychological work. In a simple terms, it's going to help you find out your traits and your characteristics and how you relate to the person into your life. Now, think a little bit of the people in your life, how they make you feel. If they make you feel, if they empower you, if they make you feel discouraged, what kind of a people are you surrounded right now into your life? And go back in time, if you bullied in your environment, at the place at work, if you've been mistreated, in the relationship. So it's important to understand those things. One of the ways to actually overcome trauma is by using words. Words have such power because they shift and shift programs in the brain, patterns of behavior, by reprogramming something else. So let's say for a second, if you every single day you say I'm depressed, you become depressed, or I'm not going to succeed, or I'm poor. Saying words like this, they solidify that reality. By saying words like I am healthy, I am in the best time of your life, I am successful, will generate that energy, will empower you. As I said, we need empowerment. We need to shift consciousness. We need to create a different program in our mind. So I really want you to use affirmation. Now, when you exactly when you feel the energy of a trauma from the past resurfacing, suddenly you feel anxious. Suddenly you feel afraid that something bad is going to happen. You suddenly feel those bad thoughts taking over. Take a step back and get in control of your emotion. And the way you do that, use, let's say, 10 positive words, 10 positive affirmations to lift your spirit. And you're going to feel like the effect of trauma are going away. Anytime the effect of trauma creeping in, use the words. Like the Bible used to say, at the beginning of the word was the sound, the word. So there's an art of the spoken word. So let's use that art to reprogram the mind. You heard many times a lot of people speak about rewiring the brain, reprogramming the brain. And I'm going to give you some great affirmations. I told you a number of times that I wrote many years for Huffington Post, and one of my articles, the 35 affirmations that will change your life, you still can find it on Huffington Post if you put my name, Dr. Carmen Harra. But I'm going to give you some of my powerful affirmations to use on a daily basis. Number one, my pain is part of my past. It does not span into my future. My experiences have taught me my necessary lessons. I learned what I was meant to learn. Through this hard time, I have learned and evolved. I have become a better person. I have the power to turn any problems into victory. No problem is as great as my own power. My path is clear. I know exactly what I must do. I listen to my intuition above all. I am sustained by people who support me through anything. I am loved unconditionally by the people who matter most. My suffering has been heard by the universe. I will be rewarded with joy. I am the architect of my life. I will make it out of this storm stronger and better. I will always survive through anything. Determination and ambition surge through me. I am prepared. An unexpected blessing awaits me. I welcome it with open arms. Tell those things. Find different words. Tell yourself simple words like I am powerful, I am loved, I am healthy, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am here right now, I am at peace. So use these simple words every single day, and you will see that those traumas will subside, will go away. Bad feelings will go away. You will feel different. You will have constantly a smile on your face, and that's the way life should be. Please continue to use affirmation. to redirect the brain in the right direction. Because hardship causes trauma that sometimes is very hard to erase. But we always have the strength to heal, the strength to move forward. Again, if you want to call me, I still have some minutes left. 951-922-3532. You know how much I appreciate talking to you. And also, there are some things you can do to overcome trauma. In order to overcome trauma, you always have to see beyond the moment. Don't get stuck in the moment. Seeing beyond the moment takes wisdom. After all, we live in the present, and we are affected by what's happening right now. So ask yourself, what is the greater purpose of my pain? What am I meant to learn? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow reality to set in. Understand not only the scope of what has been happening to you, but the reason behind what has been happening to you. Then envision the best outcome to your dilemma. Let's say you lose your home, or you have no money, you have a health problem. See beyond, see the solution. Go beyond the worries of the moment to regain hope. That's number one. Seeing beyond the moment is essential. Number two, do the best to resolve it. Putting effort to eliminate a problem is doing everything in your power to make things right. And whether this does or does not resolve the issue, at least you know you've tried your best. In life, you have to try your best. Simple solution probably are sometimes the best solution. But being proactive helps erase the burden. Another thing is practice individuality. I always in my practice, I was trying to never compare themselves to anybody else. We have the tendency to look what our neighbor does. We have the tendency to compare ourselves. That's very wrong. Realize that your inherent strength is yours and yours alone, and no one possesses your qualities and your talents that are yours. Understand your best feature and use your original way of expressing yourself, because that gives you so much strength, makes you unstoppable. And be inspired. I always want you to be inspired. Whenever you go to a hard moment, find the inspiration through the pain. And remember that every word is powerful. My daughter used to say, every word can turn into a book. So use the power of your own thoughts, turn them into beautiful words, and make your life amazing. Allow yourself to become inspired by the smallest detail of life, by a flower, by a tree, by an animal, by the ocean. Inspiration endows you with elevated sense of awareness and connection to the surrounding. It's so important to connect yourself to the world around. It's important to nourish your body. It's important to take time to reflect. It's important to get involved in a cause, most likely when you see what's happening in the world. This gives you strength. Join a group of people, to help others. It's going to make you feel so good about yourself. And also perform your favorite activities. I don't know about you, but I like to sing. I like to go to Zumba classes. I like to dance. So I do all these things. And I also call on the divine source. The universe gives us superhuman power that we can truly use, that we truly need them. Take positive action in everything you do in order to succeed. Choose to outsmart the situation by productively working against it. So these are my tips for today to work against your trauma and any negativity in your life. I'm Dr. Carmen Harra with my show Live Now on KMET Radio. I'll be with you next Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you.
You have been listening to Live Now with Dr. Carmen Harra, heard every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And don't forget to check out the show's programmer podcast on the KMET Radio website.